and the weave. Let's see how Mike Florio would bring this back to the present. And over the weekend, many NFL players will try to get their millions as the frenzy picks up before free agency opens officially on Monday. That's pretty funny, though. It's pretty funny that it opens on Monday when there was some really sound, like next level tampering being done when you guys are on the air in Indianapolis at the Combine. I mean, some of these deals we know are tucked away in drawers, are already saved in drafts somewhere and just waiting for the official go. And then we'll see like 15 of them just pop up. So that's going to happen. And it's kind of exciting. I know it's like, if you love math, this is great. This is a great weekend for math nerds because you're going to see a lot of numbers, a lot of dizzying numbers this weekend with regard to the NFL.
And I'm glad you said it officially opens on Monday because technically it opens on Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. That's when the new league year begins. But free agency starts Monday at noon with this 2-day negotiating period. I remember when they first started it because they had to start it. The tampering was so rampant. It was embarrassing. It was a joke. Because what would happen is there was a time when free agency began at midnight on a Friday morning. And by 5 a.m., there would be multiple 9-figure deals. Think about that. Working through all the terms, all the conditions, dotting I's, crossing T's, hammering out language, coming to terms from midnight to 5 a.m. And guys, showing up at the team facility at 6 a.m. Well, how the hell did you get a flight if you couldn't even talk to the guy until 12:01 a.m.? That's pretty impressive. How'd you get him there? So they put that negotiating window in place because it had gotten ridiculous. And it still is ridiculous. It still is. You're right. There's an interview we did last week. One of the general managers we had, and I can't remember who it was, but all the interviews are on our YouTube channel. He was getting dangerously close to talking about what was going on in Indy. Because it's not just checking out prospects. And it's not just meeting with agents for players currently on your team who, may need a contract adjustment, maybe looking for a trade, maybe hoping to stay even though their contract's going to expire. It's tampering central. It's anyone and everyone shopping their upcoming free agents. And there was a time when numbers weren't discussed. It was just who's going to be interested, and then here come the numbers at noon Eastern on Monday. I think that day has passed. I think now when 12 o'clock hits, it's time to start putting these things in quasi-writing. You're allowed to agree to terms. They're not final until they're signed. And we have seen guys like Frank Gore back out. We've seen it. You can have a deal in principle on Monday, and you can decline to sign it when Wednesday rolls around. It's entirely permissible. Doesn't happen very often, but that's when free agency starts. But the tampering is rampant. The tampering is happening. And as long as they don't, now look, I'm not a big fan of having rules that you don't enforce for any business. And I learned this when I was practicing law. The worst thing you can have is rules you don't enforce, because then you get yourself into some type of litigation, and that gets used against you aggressively by lawyers who are trying to prove that you only enforce the rules as the people that you don't like. And, why don't you like this employee? Is it because this employee had a workers' compensation claim? Is it because this employee practices a different religion than the preferred unofficial religion of the workforce? Whatever it may be. You can use that inconsistency to do all sorts of bad things to individual employees. So that's where it becomes very problematic. But just generally speaking, if they decide to whack one team for tampering, it's like, come on, they're all doing it. What are you doing here? You're just trying to save a little face? You're embarrassed that the tampering is so out of control. You just have to find a scapegoat every once in a while. So as long as they don't do that, I can live with it. Just let it happen. Let it happen. They all do it. When in Rome, they all do it. And no one's really complaining. And sometimes it's beneficial. Sometimes tampering makes everything a lot more efficient and everybody knows where they stand. I'm a firm believer in the players knowing as much as they can. This isn't let's make a deal where you got to pick what you know is behind door number one versus whatever you don't know is behind door number two. I want the players to have maximum information, and tampering allows them to have it.
And the other thing is, Mike, to bring it back to just business, NFL business, what's best for the league? Do you think fans like it? Absolutely. Do fans like the buzz? Do fans like the speculation, the mystery? Hey, where's this guy going to go? Hey, we're hearing this about Max Crosby. We're hearing this about A.J. Brown. Alec Pierce wants to go here. This is all good for the business of the NFL. Now, every now and then, including recently, you'll have some tampering charges, usually between teams in the same division. The Giants said that about the Eagles when Saquon Barkley went to Philadelphia. But I think they were just embarrassed more than anything. I think they were embarrassed that they thought they held the cards on Barkley, and they didn't. He got the deal that he was looking for, and he goes to a divisional rival. And then, fast forward, they win the Super Bowl, and he has a historic season. Every now and then, a divisional rival will be very angry about losing a player, but they're usually angry because they did something wrong, because they screwed up the negotiation, and the player came out on the other side of it looking pretty good.
Well, I remember that one well. That was one where right after Barkley joined the Eagles, his former coach at Penn State, James Franklin at the time, said at a press conference, I believe, maybe in conjunction with spring practice, he said that Howie Roseman got on the phone with Saquon Barkley and made some pitch about all the Penn State fans that are in Philadelphia, whatever it was. But the violation there came from the fact that you're not allowed to talk directly to the player if he has an agent. And the Chiefs got whacked 12, 13 years ago for speaking directly to Jeremy Maclin, who they didn't need to speak to because Andy Reid had drafted him in Philadelphia. That was one of the biggest unforced errors we've ever seen. But it leads to something that we were talking about last week. The Steelers have proposed allowing teams to talk to up to 5 players during that 2-day window. Up to 5 players, video or phone call, so you can talk directly to them. My position would be talk to all of them. Get more information. I don't like this idea of it being a simple monetary transaction and then we'll get to know each other. I think you should get to know each other before the financial transaction.
No question.
But the NFL has the cart before the horse when it comes to free agency, and it creates some situations where you get someone with a team where the player's like, why the hell did I do this? And the team may be in other situations saying, why the hell do we do this? And that's not good for anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, talk to as many people as you can. I think it's a smart proposal. And I'm thinking, based on what you said earlier, like some of these proposals that came from the desk of the commissioner, but hey, I can't say it myself. You say it on my behalf. I wonder if that one came from the commissioner. I don't think so. I think that is, I would say that is an authentic, non-commissioner generated proposal from the Steelers. The irony is that the Steelers are probably the last team I would think of that would be extremely active in free agency and trying to talk to a number of players. I would just off the top of my head, I'd say they're in the bottom half of the league when it comes to going after top free agents. Now, obviously, every team in the league signs free agents, but the Steelers are more low tier, mid tier. I can't remember the last time they went out and made a huge free agent splash. So despite that, I think it's a good proposal from them.
Well, and look, after learning what we learned last year about the NFL seeking out not one but 2 teams for a pair of proposals that the league wanted on the table and circumvented the competition committee. People think the competition committee is this powerful body. They really don't have that much juice. And nothing gets out of the competition committee without a unanimous vote. I was going to say 8-0, but there may be more than 8 members right now. But you need a unanimous vote to get a proposal out of the committee. It's far more efficient and effective to get a team to make the proposal. And that's just a weird procedure. We've got this body that we put in place to make official proposals to ownership every year. And hell, a lot of the proposals made aren't adopted by at least 24 of the teams. But you know what? Any team that wants to make any proposal can make it whenever they want. So we've got this deliberative body that very carefully and reluctantly puts proposals on the table. Meanwhile, you can just throw anything out there if you're a team. It's a weird way of doing business, but the NFL's cracked the code. Let's go straight to the teams. And I wouldn't be surprised if the truth was. Maybe the league targeted the Steelers. It's like, you know what? They never sign anybody. They won't care. They'll do us a favor on this one. It doesn't affect them. Yeah, what the hell? But again, I think it should be as many players as you want. I think that's one big flaw in the process. You do these deals sight unseen, and you create possible complications because it's only about the money on Monday when free agency opens. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.